Okay, Soup Vendor. I don't see this card being good. It's an interesting card to have, but other than that, there are probably better card draw mechanics in the game, and healing specifically 3 or more health to your hero is kind of hard. It does synergize with the stupid mosquito thing, but other than that, I don't know. And the stats aren't that juicy as well. Well, let's just go to the next one. Blast Wave. Okay, 5 mana, mage spell. Deal 2 damage to all minions. Overkill. Add a random mage spell to your hand. Ooh. Okay, it's a 5 mana, 2 damage AoE to everything. Okay, that's already good on its own. With spell damage, gets even better. Other than that, it says overkill. Add a random mage spell to your hand. So every time this thing deals more damage to a specific minion than health that minion had, you're going to get a mage spell to your hand. Now, as long as you kill 1 or 2 things and you overkill at least 1 or 2 things, you're gonna get a couple of cards back. This thing can scale up to infinity and beyond depending on how well you kill. A lot of tokeny style things, you might end up doing some trades and placing a lot of things to one health, and then dealing the rest of the damage with this thing and getting a bunch of resources back. So I believe this card is really good. It all depends on how good other things are. I don't know. It's a little bit hard to justify this card being really broken or just meh. But as it stands, it's still a good AoE tool nonetheless. Sure, it also damages your minions, so it's not like a Flame Strike or other utility things that Mage has for board clears, but it's another board clear that also doubles up or triples up or goes into infinity and beyond on itself, giving you more resources to work with. So that said, really good card for keeping the game in check. Scales potentially with spell power, plus Mage has some specific things that give it spell power +2 or cheap ways to buff this thing up. So you can actually make this thing into a Flame Strike that pulverizes everything, and you get a lot of resources probably back for doing that. So it's a 2 for a lot, and you get a lot back. So nonetheless, this is one of those cards that is out there, and it's going to be really frustrating sometimes because, as we know, Hearthstone and RNG go hand in hand together, and sometimes RNG really comes back and bites you badly in the ass. So yeah, we're gonna see some rage flips over this card. Okay, next we have Masked Contender, a neutral card, 3 mana 2/4 battle cry. If you control a secret, play a secret from your deck. Oh, interesting. Huh. This is a nice card to have, specifically for secret players, right? This is a good tool to have. Hunter is going to be happy about this card. Mage is happy about this card because usually you don't trigger mage spells that fast. I don't know if Paladin is going to run this, because Paladin secrets tend to be like really easily countered, as in they go off really easily, might be a thing. It's definitely worth trying out. So it's not a bad card to have in secret specific decks, but it tends to go more to Hunter and Mage other than the other classes. And yes, I did say other classes because rogues also have secrets now, which is a thing lately, but no one really plays with them, so okay, that's a thing. Next, we got another neutral card. We got the Serenade Taskmaster. Deferral, summon a 0/3 free agent when taunt for your opponent. It is a 1 mana 2/3, so Zombie Chow stats. Really good minion. And the Deferral is a 0/3 taunt for your opponent. That can be something that you don't really care about. You don't worry about it because you can deal with it more easily. But in certain situations and certain matchups, giving your opponent a 0/3 token that they can buff up or utilize in other ways is sometimes bad for you. So, you know, this is something that I leave up to you guys to figure out if it's something good for your deck specifically or not. But nonetheless, this is definitely a good card to have inside of the game. We already know that Zombie Chow was one of the best cards for a ton of decks. To this day, you know, a 1 mana 2/3 with a specific downside, which we tend to have on these kind of cards because they are really high impact, you know, cards, especially in the early game. You know, these things are going to be good. I'm just saying, they're gonna be good. Next we have Predatory Instinct, a 4 mana spell for druids. Draw a beast from your deck, double its health. Okay, it's an interesting card to have. Druids getting a lot of beast synergy and attack synergy style theme things inside of this new expansion. Not really seeing it. Good thing to have, but I think that's a bad card. It only draws you one specific thing. Sure, it doubles its health, but do you really care about that much? I mean, not really. They have better card draw than this, so this is a bad card. Okay, bye. My Predatory Instinct is to say bye. Okay, next we have a 3 mana Shaman spell, Haunting Vision. Ooh, that's a nice looking mask. Okay. The next spell you cast this turn costs 3 less. Discover a spell. Okay, so effectively, you play this, and then the next spell you cast costs 3 less because you already paid 3 for this. So it's a little bit awkward in that way, but it's essentially discover a spell for 3 mana. I don't know. It's awkward, but Shaman has interesting synergies with spells specifically. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really edgy on this card. I would say it's kind of bad-ish. It takes up a spot in your deck, but it's nice to have in the game because we do have Hagatha and things like that that allow you to get spells randomly, plus the Toad, or, you know, things like that. So having this inside of your let's say spell pool is definitely nice. So whenever you get this kind of spell, it allows you to rediscover, discovering gives you 3 options and you get to choose one. So that can be impactful in one way. Plus, it allows you to also play another spell in conjunction with it. Maybe more easily. I don't know. But nonetheless, it's a good card to have inside of the game, but it's not a terrific card that you would put in your deck. Maybe. I don't know. Ooh, Troll Champion for Priestess. Okay. Princess Talani, whatever. 8 mana, 7/5. So stats are really meh. Okay. Battle Cry. Summon all minions from your hand that didn't start in your deck. Okay, so anything that generates a minion, anything that allows you to, death rattle things that give you specific things back into your hand, or finding things from your opponent's deck, or duplicating specific things. Anything that wasn't inside of your deck to begin with, you get to summon all of them onto the board. But you need to have them inside of your hand. So it doesn't really work that way if you have them inside of your deck. But as long as you get to draw all of those minions and then you play Princess Talanji, you get your hand spilled out onto the board. Interesting card. Priest is already doing a lot of things with, Zarek's cloning lab or whatever that shit is called. With getting a bunch of 1/1 copies onto the board and, getting them back and summoning and all of that jazz. Priest is already annoying. That's what I'm trying to say. Priest is already annoying, and this is just another annoyer tool for Priest specifically. And it has a really good flavor to it. It's definitely going to see some play. Definitely Priest is getting a lot of help inside of this whole getting other things that didn't start in your deck before. Remember, we also have the Spirit and whatnot that allow you to make 1/1 copies and get 1 drops back. The 1/1 copy of a minion that died, that copy didn't start in your deck. The original minion started in your deck, yes, but the copy, no. So if you get that 1-cost copy, sure, it's a 1-cost copy, so effectively you could actually play those cards whenever you feel like it. So I don't know how good that is, but it's still a good card to have, because we do have specific cards that give you resources like other things, like even fireflies. And you can summon a bunch of fireflies with it. It's still decent. I don't know. We'll just have to see how annoying this is going to get. Okay, hey there, Murloc. Let's see. 4 mana cost Murloc Neutral. Murloc Tasty Fin. 4 mana 3/2. Death Rattle. Draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. Okay, so this is a nice flavorful card for Murloc specific decks. It's not really a good card because of its high cost, plus it has a death rattle effect, so that means it has to die first in order to get the benefit. It's not a battle cry, it's not something that synergizes well with the other Murloc synergies. It doesn't have high health for its mana cost, but it's a good card in specific Murloc synergy style decks. And I don't know, is it justified enough to play it? Maybe it helps other decks be better at creating Murloc decks. that are not really incentivized to do so. But just saying, maybe we're gonna see Murloc Rogue or Murloc Warrior. Well, could work. I don't know. It's all up for debate. You tell me. Okay, 3 mana, 2/4. I think this is a warrior class weapon. Overlords Whip. Yes. Okay. After you play a minion, deal 1 damage to it. Okay. It's a 3 mana, 2/4. Decent stats for a weapon. Warrior has, in the current state, better weapons that it wants to run. It deals 1 damage to your own minions. Warrior does tend to have things that can synergize with those kind of things. However, we do have better weapons, like I said, so I don't think this card is going to see that much play. I don't think it's going to be that good in the current state of the game. However, I'm going to come back on this when the rotation is going to hit and we're going to be left with only specific tools. We might actually see Overlord's Whip making its way into the spotlight at that specific moment, and this is a nice card to have inside of the meta for upcoming expansions and see how that might influence the game. We might have an expansion where warriors like all in on the theme of self-damaging minions, and then Overlord's Whip is just going to be like, okay, I just tossed this into that thing and it just works, Okay, that's pretty much my opinion on it. Decent card, not necessary right now. Okay, 1 mana, Spirit of the Raptor, the spirit card for Druid, 0/3, stealth for 1 turn. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, so it has to kill a minion. That's kind of hard, Draw a card. Effectively, this is a card drawing mechanic that really revolves around your hero killing specific things. So that means face damage. You need to kill specific things. You don't have that much attack as Druid. You only have 1 attack from your hero power. We're going to see that Druid is going to get a little bit of help on getting a little bit more attack damage. Also, there are cards that are going to allow your Druid to keep swinging if it kills something. So you can swing up to 7 times, I guess, if you can manage to kill 7 minions without dying, because you're going to take all that damage. Sure, Druid has the potential of getting a lot of armor, but usually you want to have that armor in order to survive, to go like all big on specific combos, or just negating your opponent with everything, with a big wall of taunts or something like that. So I would say this card is not that good unless Druid specifically can make that face killing, face style attacking a thing. Right now I just don't see it. I believe this theme for Druid with attacking is not going to be that impactful. I might be wrong. There might be a really good control style Druid that also revolves around your late game combos, and you just want to control the early game. It allows you to draw more, get your combo pieces back, Cthulhu style or whatever. That might be something interesting to see. I just don't know exactly how effective that's going to be. Might be good. It might be good. It might be a little bit more slower than what Druid is already doing effectively, if I might add. But I don't know. The more I'm talking about it, I'm interested and I'm intrigued about it, and I want to see it work. I would definitely like to see it work. I just think it can get shut down or be overrun by specific decks really easily. Okay, next we have a 4-mana 4/5 neutral legendary Krista Malachi. Discover 2 cards, give 1 to your opponent at random. Okay, this card is beautiful for the game. This card is so ingenious, and I would like to see more of these style of cards be implemented inside of the game. Something that can impact the game on so many levels, because you discover 2 cards. Now you can go on a 50-50 chance of getting a really good card and a really bad card, and hoping that the really bad card goes to your opponent, and then you made something really cool, right? You got a really good card and you slowed your opponent down by giving him trash inside of his hand. Also, you get the knowledge if you get 2 cards. Okay, I know this card and that card. You give that one. Okay, now I know I have to play around specifically that card that my opponent now has. So you can get shit all the way. You can get good cards all the way. This card is just insane, okay? The amount of things that can happen, plus the discover, randomness, all that, I just think it's cool. Plus, it's a decent minion. It's a 4-mana 4/5. It's not a bad statted minion. You can just drop it on turn 4. Get maybe a 5-drop and hope for the best. I don't know. I just like this card. I think it's a really cool card to have inside of the game. Really happy it is in the game. Don't know exactly how good it's going to be for a competitive standpoint. Other than that, like I said, really happy that it is in the game. Okay, let's go a little bit more. We have a 6-mana 3/3 Arcana soar. This is a elemental card for mage, and it says Battlecry, if you played an elemental last turn, so elemental synergies, deal 3 damage to all other minions. So we already know this kind of effect. In priest specifically, that thing revolves around dragon synergy. This thing is elemental synergies, definitely a higher cost, but it's still a good card nonetheless. For mage specifically, elemental synergy is really high with the Death Knight card. Frostless Jaina really can heal herself back to full health by utilizing this card. We already saw Baron Geddon being used that way. This is just a turn earlier. Elemental synergies are really good, specifically in mage, can really revolve around them. So I think this is a good card for mage to have, and it's definitely going to see a lot of play. Next we have Faraki Battle Axe. It is a 5-mana 3/3 overkill. Give a minion in your hand +2/+2. So this is a paladin weapon. 5 mana is a lot to pay for a 3/3, so it's not really that good. Plus it has overkill added to it, so that means it has to kill something that has 2 health in order to get the effect. Sure, you give a minion in your hand, so it's a buff paladin style, but I think this card is bad. 1, because we have better weapons inside of the game that we utilize already. 2, because it's really hard to get off to work, specifically in the late stages of the game where 5+ mana usually tends to not have creatures around 2 health. Just saying. And next we have Totemic Smash, a 1-mana spell for Shaman. Really like the artwork on this one. Deal 2 damage, overkill, summon a basic totem. So a 1-mana card that deals 2 damage is already really good. Even without the overkill on it, it's just a decent card. It's a 1 mana, deal 2 damage. It can go face. It doesn't require you to deal 2 damage to a minion. So this thing scales only upwards and onwards with cards like, I don't know, spell damage +5. Does that ring any bells? Yeah, Malygos. Malygos loves to see Tamik smash your face, you know? That's 7 damage for 1 mana if you have Malygos. So that's already a good card. So that might end up seeing some play just for that specific thing. Plus there's the overkill. Shaman can get Spell Power Totem, so that's a 1 mana, deal 3. You can kill off maybe a 2 health minion and you get another basic totem. And basic totems, you might say, yeah, that's not really like the best thing to get. It's not even a 1/1 sometimes. But Shaman makes really good use of its totems. It has good totem synergy. You know, it's just a good card. And I'll leave it at that. See you guys in the next one.